Hello and welcome to the program Midday Discuss on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. Today we'll be looking at, women's inclusivity in governance as will be extreme, individuals affirming their willingness and power for women to be fully and duly inducted into political space and also having reserved seats for them, changing the face of Nigerian politics. I want to say hello and welcome to Midday Discuss, where we unpack today's most pressing issues and also x-ray major spotlight conversation looking at the reserved seats bill for women, the proposed law aiming to reshape Nigeria's political landscape by giving women guaranteed seats in our national and state assemblies. Supporters say this bill will fix the long-standing underrepresentation of women in governance. Critics argued it could disrupt our democratic balance. So will it empower or divide? We'll be finding that out today. I'll be introducing a very senior guest who will be helping us unpack today's conversation. We'll dive in right into the women category and also look at the numbers and the percentage of women. Right now, we can see women make up less than 10% of the Nigerians lawmakers. That's despite women making up nearly half of the population of the country. So the bill proposed creating special seats not just for women, but the total number they're looking to, has been proposed to be created is up to 182 new seats across national and state legislatures. So we're going to be finding out why, all of this is very important and why has it taken this long to get to this point. And then we are going to be extracting the major reasons behind all of these delays, because all this conversation was, sponsored by the House of Representatives, Deputy House of Reps, that's talking about Kalu, who, pushed for this bill as of last year, though the bill has passed its second reading, and hopefully by October this year, the third reading will be read and hopefully it might be passed, and at the point now the president will take a look at it and then we would know the way forward afterwards. So we'll be looking at all of this, how it's going to balance the Nigerian political landscape and how individuals will be able to get themselves involved in politics. We're going to be looking at it from the women angle and also the future of women in politics, talking about young women who would want to venture more into the political space. We'll be having all of these conversations and more, immediately after this break. Stay with us. Many thanks for joining us. If you're just joining, you've not missed a thing at all. So we'll be getting right into the conversation. And I have here with me in the studio Ezemwa Mwaogo, Executive Director, Parent Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa. Good afternoon, many thanks for joining on this edition.
Great. So,
Yes. So, it's no longer news. A lot of women have been having conversation about lack of inclusivity and all of that. But now we're looking at the bill now, which has passed the first and the second reading in line with, creating designated sitting area for women in politics, which is what a whole lot of individuals, almost 10 million individuals, Nigerians, have been advocating for that since the bill got sponsored by the House of Reps members. So looking at it now, why now?
first, is not a women's bill.
Okay.
So I think we have to take that out.
Okay.
It's part of the struggle to continue to expand the democratic space.
Okay.
You cannot continue to have a majority of your citizens not participating or being given a place right at the table.
Okay.
Now the conversation is that they should now come with their own table.
Okay.
The advocacy was to find them a place on the table. But I think right now the idea is to say, because of the obstacles, because of the structural impediments that are within the political parties, for instance, and the whole electoral environment, you needed to now design a short-term measure that brings in more people into elective position. And that is the whole idea of the reserved seats.
Okay.
And Honorable Adebayo, the chair of the electoral, who has proposed that, is saying, let's have one seat from every state. Meaning that no matter what it is, within the short term, you will have 36 more women in the legislature.
Both in the national and also in the states. Okay, looking at that now is like a very strong foundation there you laid, but what processes have there been in place now for over a decade now? We've now seen a massive push towards having this established. And looking at the process and progress so far, how is it looking? October is around the corner. Do you think this bill would fully be implemented? And do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will definitely, go for this?
Well, first is important that we understand, because if we don't understand why, then whether it will pass will become. Once you make it a women's bill,
yes,
then you heighten the sensibilities of patriarchy.
Okay.
And look, the women have no place here. They should just go and take care of their children and do what we've seen. Very, very phenomenal, progress in the way women have ascended the ladder of business. Many of the banks today, their managing directors are women, and they are doing exceptionally well. But in the political space, because of the structured nature of our political parties, you can imagine that, the dominant political parties, for instance, their National Executive Council, their national working committees are predominantly male-dominated.
Yes.
So if you are going to be looking for office, it's important that you circumvent those processes.
Okay.
So we all have responsibility to give our support, borrow muscle to the passing of that bill. It is not the resolution of the crisis of lack of inclusion. It is a just stopgap. Is a stopgap to be able to say you cannot have a Senate with 109 members and you have less than 7 women.
Yes.
That's not acceptable. And then you go to the House of Representatives, the numbers are also very diminishing. It's dismal. And this is now recurring because it wasn't so before. We had more women in 1999, 2003. So, but suddenly it started
But
plummeting down.
what do you think changed all of this? Why do you think the number started
It's
deteriorating?
because we started constricting the space. We started putting a lot of, for you to have expression of interest from in the dominant political parties, for you to want to be president, you have to be raising, for you to just take the form to say, I want to be president, you have to cough out 100 million or 60, 40 for most of the political parties. So if you don't have a godfather, in quotes, where would a hardworking woman find that kind of money to just say, I want to? So the parties, in some sense, have criminalized even aspiration. To aspire, just to say, I want to be. And it's not just for women, for young people, for people living with disabilities. These are huge challenges that we confront, and we need to deal with it. So people say, oh, more women should get into appointive positions. And I say, no, appointive positions are discretionary. If there is no consequence for discretion. If I refuse to appoint a woman, there is nothing you can do about that. But we've got to have a law that says whether we like it, you like their face, you don't like their face, there has to be some positions, in the legislature that are for women. And we are not new in this. We are not the only ones in this. Many I like to call them children of light, have already embraced those things and they are implementing it. Why not Nigeria?
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that. But now, what role do Nigerian citizens now have to play in line to seeing all of this and having, women actually getting into elected political positions? Like you rightly mentioned, appointments now, it's not just the end goal for a woman to be in politics, basically because there are major reasons around the fact that, there might be some constraints in taking some decisions or pushing some narratives that would help the women community. So what role do Nigerians now, citizens, when it comes to voting and all, play majorly in making sure that women get fully, elected into political positions?
I think part of what your platform is doing is to conscientize, to really talk to. It's a mindset issue. There are 3 challenges or 4 challenges that you deal with when you talking about women. You are talking about negative culture, where people say, oh, women don't
Does it have
any.
anything to do with the African mentality?
It's not African. It's a negative culture. I called it a negative culture. It means that it doesn't have tribal marks. It could just be that there's what you call masculinity, misogynism. Is not a Nigerian language.
Yes.
It is found in the Oxford
Dictionary.
and other dictionary. If that is the case, it means that it is not African. Okay, but so misogynism and patriarchy dominates the thinking that I am a man, and because I am a man, you can't be right. You understand? If they are not playing the and these are all tools of exclusion. Whether you are talking about negative culture or you are talking about ageism. When I mean ageism, I'm talking about we talk to you here and you say, "Shut up, I'm older than you." And if they want to oppress you more, they say, what a child stands up to see. The old man will sit down and see, which is crap. So we need to begin to dismantle. That's the challenge. We need to dismantle the culture of exclusion, and then the tools that we use for those exclusion. The Nigerian populace have to come to terms with the fact that we are gifted in different ways, and all of these giftings have to be brought to leadership and governance.
Okay, let's look at the law now. What role the parties, not just the law, play in increasing women's participation. Like you're saying now, it's like a total overhaul of the mentality of citizens of Nigeria. But now let's look at it from Parent Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa. How well have you and your organization been pushing all of this in terms of sanitizing the community and making people see the need why other genders need, as the female gender needs to be elected into political space?
Well, first is I don't think we should make it an organizational responsibility. I think we should broaden the stakeholdership of that engagement. And the only way you can broaden the stakeholdership is to see that even you, the media, have a responsibility to support. And I think you already supported, because that's why you topicked it this afternoon.
Yes.
If you were not supporting, you would not want to discuss it. So we should have more platforms of engagement, of talking about the need and deconstructing those, what I call these negative tools that I talked about that are used for exclusion. It's important. The political parties are the guiltiest. They are the guiltiest, in terms of, just check any of the political parties, Google their leadership. You find first how many women are in the national executive committee of these parties and the national working committee.
So it's not just solely the problem of the law now.
No, this is the highest policy making organ of the leadership recruitment SUV of our country. I call them special purpose vehicles. Okay, because if you have 10 offices in the national working committee, and you only put one position, national woman leader, and there are 9 men. In the decision-making process for the political party, the women are already
Crippled
and excluded. So if the vehicle, the leadership recruitment and candidate selection mechanism of your country is so patriarchal in its complexion, in its, how are you going to help? So that is why there is this demand. The demand is as a result of the failure of the political parties to expand the democratic space for women, people living, and now it's becoming tokenistic. Sometimes they become very tokenistic about it and say, "Oh, we are giving free ticket to women." That itself is diminishing. It reduces their self-esteem. That no, put the forms in a way that anybody can afford it. When you put it very high and then you tell the other person that we gave you the ticket, not that you competed for it. There is a sense in which that reduces even their self. So we have to also take away tokenism. We have to remove this we gave her mentality and equalize the process in a way that it is competitive and gender neutral.
Okay, looking at those, international communities, just in the past election in the US, we saw Kamala Harris going up against President Donald Trump in an electoral election. Well, how can Nigerian community now and Africa at large adopt to the Western community in terms of giving avenues for both genders when it comes to equalizing the opportunities?
It does. It's the truth is that we receded before the American woman started voting. The Nigerian woman has started voting. So it is just that they leapfrogged and we are going backwards. I just explained to you first the bigger challenge, and that conversation is not taking place. So when people want to talk about women candidacy, they talk about INEC and say INEC is not giving opportunity. It is not INEC's business. It's the political party business. The parties are the ones who provide the candidates. And according to the law now, whoever they provide that satisfies the constitutional requirements for running election, INEC will give you. And INEC cannot decree and say you must. So we must have conversations that make it clear. For instance, if you are running for governorship, we can insist that the deputy governorship candidate will have to be a woman. And that where it is a woman, then a man has to be the deputy governor. And then we can even begin to say that we would, as a political party, we would incentivize women to be able to even go for those top shots.
Yes.
And so it's not a Western African challenge. It more has to do with the deepening sense of privilege, which my gender has appropriated to itself. That we are the ones who, and then when we want to exclude, I've given you the different ways to exclude people. Okay, If I want to exclude you, the first thing I find is your what I think disadvantages you.
Yes.
And if that thing is that you're a woman, I can play that card and say there is no place for a woman here. Go home, go and take care of your children and your husband. I'm doing that not necessarily because I don't value your competencies. It is simply because I want to exclude you. If you're a young person, I say, hey, shut up, you don't have experience. Get out of this place. Allow experienced people. It's all tools of exclusion. And some other times, they also use religion. Are you a Christian? Are you a Muslim? Okay?
Yeah.
If they find out that what will exclude you is your religion, they can play that. I remember in Anambra at a point in time when the Christian Muslim card could not fly, it became whether you're a Catholic or you're an Anglican. So we are always looking for something to exclude people. And the whole conversation of the reserved seat challenge is a response to exclusion.
Okay.
And a call to inclusivity. That's all.
Okay. Well, we'll be looking at more angles around the political space, and also be talking more around the forthcoming elections that will be happening in Anambra State. But before we get right into that conversation, we'll be going on a quick break, and when we return back, Midday Discuss continues. Stay with us. Yeah, man, thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining, this is Midday Discuss, and we're having great conversations with Ezinwanwagu, Executive Director, Parent Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, looking at a general, view around inclusivity, and we're having conversation around affirmative action and Nigerian move to reserve, more political positions for individuals, generally both women, young adults, and also people with disabilities. Okay, well, let's look quickly and have conversations around, the forthcoming elections that will be happening in Anambra State later in the year. How do you think all of this is going to pan out, and looking at INEC, excluding some political parties from the list of the forthcoming election?
You see, one of the challenges that we have in public commentary in Nigeria is that we allow politicians to give us talking points. And when they give us the talking points, we carry on without, reflecting to see what is the end point of what they want to achieve. You see, first and foremost, what INEC has done, there is an improvement in the whole, upload of candidates. I mean, candidates of political parties. It is now automated.
Okay.
And there's a timeline. So, if you finish your primaries, you upload the name of
the
winner into a particular database, which has a time check process when you did, and there's a closing period for it.
Just like back in the days when you're in school, if you don't pay your school fees on time, you go for late registration.
You go. In fact, in this one, there's no late registration.
Yes.
So that is an innovation that INEC has put in place. If you remember, if you've been following, you will notice that after Anambra, there has not been a lot of noise in terms of withdrawal of candidates and all of those things. It's because INEC brought that innovation that has helped to remove those situations where INEC is besieged on the eve of the closing period. Now, if you don't field in your candidate as such when you should, you have nobody to talk to. So the first question to ask is, why would INEC refuse Secondly, there is also challenge about who can send this nomination. It is the chairman and secretary of the political parties that can do so. In the case of the party that you are talking about, with all the legal internal wranglings and legal challenges that are going on, who do you know now, according to the law, is the chairman and secretary of that political party? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
So the challenge is that self-inflicted. They went to the market and they went to the bush and got an ant-infested firewood, and when the ant starts running amok, rather than agree that the challenge is us, you want a fall guy. You want somebody who, and once you mention INEC, people will say, oh, okay, they want to exclude them. I don't know if you understand. They don't want this one, but this is the reality. These innovations have shut out the funny shenanigans of the political parties, and they don't have an answer to it. So if many political parties, even in 2027, may not, if they are not careful, if they don't resolve their internal crisis, may not even participate in the election itself because of the conditions that have become very clear, those innovations that I'm talking about. Take the new ADC and the play around who is the chairman did this, and then suddenly you said you have surrendered to a new leadership, but you are still signing letter as chairman because INEC will recognize only the chairman that they know until the right things, the right processes of transitioning is effected with the full, knowledge of INEC. You cannot just say we have handed over. That's not how things are done. Because INEC is the registrar, is not only the registrar of political parties, it is also the regulator of political parties.
So all of this now just falls within the regulation of INEC, and then political parties making sure they follow suit. If they don't get to follow suit, then it would have the political party to blame, not INEC.
Check on the Anambra issue. You will see that it's quiet. It's never been like that. What used to happen before this innovation used to be that the chairman will take a list to INEC. The national publicity secretary will take a list to INEC. Chairman of the party in the state will take a list to INEC. Now it is clear. This is the only people that we can respond to. We will only respond to national chairmen of and secretaries of political parties, two of them signing together. The PDP had that crisis, but during the Anambra election, they had to find a way to go and meet a national secretary that they had issues with. They had to beg him to be able to sign to have a candidate in that election.
All right, looking at all of those angles now, that means it boils down to, political parties doing their due diligence and following to the teeth that the regulations of INEC are saying through that their candidates get, to be, names get uploaded while within the time frame that the INEC electoral body has provided. I want to say a very big thank you to Ezemwangwa, Executive Director, Parent Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa. Thank you so much for taking our time to join us on Midday Discuss today.
Thank you. It's been a great pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes. So we'll be going on a very quick break, and then we'll have our next guest, and then we'll continue with our next conversation. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.